Hello everyone, we are Group 9 and today we will be presenting a paper by Yi Jiang and Mike W. Peng on a research topic covering how family ownership and control in large firms are good, bad, or irrelevant. In our group, we have Diego, Laura, Sofia, and Adiola. In this presentation, we will be looking into how family ownership and control plays an important role in large firms in 8 Asian countries. By understanding through Study 1 and Study 2 and relating it with the findings to get a better perspective on family ownership and its control. Furthermore, we will be relating the paper's finding and the studies within the Western Foods, a Canadian family-owned company. And then finally, we will be concluding our presentation by understanding whether the Western Food is an international, multinational, global, or national company, and whether the family ownership of Western Food is good or bad in the Canadian market. So, what is family ownership? According to Yi Jiang and Mike W. Peng, a family owned and controlled large firm is defined as having a family and or its identifiable members as their largest owners, where the leading owner is a family member of the company, which also controls the right share in the percentage of the total outstanding shares. Now, let us understand the methodology used in this paper. Firstly, the data is derived from publicly listed large family-owned and controlled firms in 8 countries, which are Hong Kong, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, and Thailand. For both the studies, there are different number of firms used. For study 1, there are 744 publicly listed firms, whereas in study 2, there are only 688 publicly listed family-owned businesses which are considered to derive the data. Secondly, in both the studies, we look more into their family ownership, its CEO, and understand what is the pyramid structure and institution method by considering the different hypotheses. Lastly, there are certain limitations which are not considered in this paper. That is, the culture and the societal norms are not clear or mentioned. Also, the history and evolution of the company is not clearly mentioned.
Study 1 has 4 hypotheses. Hypothesis 1. Family CEO is positively related to firm performance. Hypothesis 2. Family CEO is negatively related to firm performance. Hypothesis 3. Pyramid structure is positively related to firm performance. Hypothesis 4. Pyramid structure is negatively related to firm performance. Hypothesis 1 is based on the agency theory, which proposed that there are inherent conflicts between shareholders and professional managers. Family CEOs would mollify agency costs because of their vested interest with the owners. Family CEO would have sufficient justification to place family welfare above personal interest, thereby performing better than professional CEOs. Also, the issue of asymmetry problem in agency relationships is likely not to occur given the close ties between families. Hypothesis 2 is about the presence of family CEO could lead to a sense of entitlement among family members, which results in appointing incompetent person as the family CEO. This will in turn negatively affect firm performance. Family CEO may have a hard time reprimanding a family member, which can lead to conflict of interest. Hypothesis 3. A pyramid structure in this sense means family control of multiple firms, each firm becoming a member of an informal group. This structure helps other members allows for growth of firms. Resources in terms of information, human resources, and capital resources are made available by members of the group, such that a member in need can be supported by others. Family firms in business groups are likely to outperform independent firms. Hypothesis 4. Large family-owned and controlled firms are characterized by principal conflict. Some of the intra-group activities carried by these firms may be labeled as expropriation. Opportunities for this to occur Opportunities for this occur when corporations are affiliated to a group of corporations which have the same shareholder. Minority shareholders may be unhappy with this and reduce the value of their share through pyramiding, misappropriation of resources. Fraud can occur while family members are interested in their personal benefits, which may infringe firm value. Findings of the study shows that hypothesis 1 is supported in Indonesia and Taiwan. Hypothesis 2 is supported in Hong Kong. Hypothesis 3 is supported in Hong Kong, Malaysia, and Singapore. Hypothesis 4 is supported in Indonesia and South Korea. Study 1 finding. Hypothesis 1 is supported in Indonesia and Taiwan. Hypothesis 2 is supported in Hong Kong. Hypothesis 3 is supported in Hong Kong, Malaysia, and Singapore. Hypothesis 4 is supported in Indonesia and South Korea. Hypothesis 1 is supported in Indonesia and Taiwan. Holding other things constant, the stock returns of firms with family CEO is 48% higher than those with non-family CEO in Indonesia and 34% higher in Taiwan. On the other hand, the stock return of Hong Kong firms with a family CEO performs 28% lower than firms with a non-family CEO. The presence of a family CEO has no significant impact in other countries, thereby supporting the default irrelevant perspective. In Hong Kong, Malaysia, and Singapore, hypothesis 3 is supported, where firms with pyramid structure outperform their non-family counterparts without such a structure by 31%, 17%, and 12% respectively. In Indonesia and South Korea, the stock return of firms is 37% and 17% lower than that of non-pyramid firms. On the other hand, the pyramid structure seems to be insignificant and thus irrelevant in other countries.
Study 1 raised important questions about the performance of large family-owned and controlled firms in different countries. To answer these questions, Study 2 delves into the institutional roots of family ownership control in large firms and explores the impact of these institutions on firm performance. In the US and UK, the barley and means hypothesis that corporations separate ownership and control is observed, but in many other countries this is not the case. The institution-based view explains that in countries with developed institutions to protect shareholders, families are more likely to hire professional CEOs and release control to minority shareholders. In countries with less developed legal and regulatory institutions, families are less likely to hire outside managers, leading to concentrated ownership. The research question in Study 2 is under what conditions do the benefits of having a family CEO outweigh the costs? Shareholder protection varies across countries due to differences in legal and regulatory institutions which impact internal governance mechanisms. Countries with less developed institutions may benefit from having a family CEO as outside. Non-family managers may deviate from pursuing the interests of both the family and minority shareholders. Conversely, in countries with more developed institutions, having a family CEO may be redundant and even counterproductive, as outside non-family managers are more effectively disciplined. Hypothesis 5 affirms that in countries with less developed institutions, having a family CEO is beneficial. Hypothesis 6 affirms that in countries with more developed institutions, having a family CEO is not beneficial. Hypothesis 7 suggests that the presence of a pyramid structure is negatively related to firm performance in countries with less developed legal and regulatory institutions to protect shareholders, and hypothesis 8 suggests that the presence of a pyramid structure is positively related to firm performance in countries with more developed legal and regulatory institutions to protect shareholders. These hypotheses are tested through a 2 times 2 matrix that divides countries into two groups based on their level of shareholder protection. The results will provide deeper insights into how institutions impact the benefits and costs of having a family CEO and inform corporate governance strategies for large family-owned and controlled firms in different countries. In this study, it was analyzed the impact of family CEO and pyramid structure on firm performance in different institutional environments. Three models were used to assess the results. Model 1 focused on countries with less developed legal and regulatory institutions. Model 2 dealt with countries with more developed institutions. And Model 3 pulled data from all the countries. The results of Model 1 support both hypotheses 5 and 7. In countries with less developed institutions, having a family CEO was found to be value enhancing with a 12% higher return than having a non-family CEO. However, having a pyramid structure was value destroying with a 14% lower return than non-pyramid firms. These findings are significant. The results of Model 2 support Hypothesis 8 in that having a pyramid structure was beneficial for firm value with a 14% higher return than non-pyramid firms in more developed countries. However, Hypothesis 6 was not supported, with the coefficient sign in the predicted direction but not reaching significance. Finally, the results of Model 3 on the eight-country pooled sample did not show any significant impact on family CEO or pyramid structure on firm performance. This finding supports the irrelevant perspective. The findings support the view that the relationship between family ownership and control in large firms and their performance is systematically correlated with the legal and regulatory institutions governing shareholder protection in a country. It is worth noting that previous studies by Peng and Jiang show a negative relationship between family CEOs and firm value in countries with less developed institutions. This difference could be due to the fact that Peng and Jiang's data was collected during the 1997 Asian financial crisis, where principal-principal conflicts became the dominant problem, changing the priority of internal corporate governance structure. Weston Foods is a Canadian multinational company that also has presence in the United States and the United Kingdom. It is owned by the Weston family, one of the oldest and most prominent business families in Canada, with a long history of entrepreneurship and philanthropy. The Weston family has been in the food industry for over 150 years, and Weston Foods has been a subsidiary of George Weston Limited, a publicly traded holding company also controlled by the Weston family since 1924. The company operates a wide range of bakery brands and products, including Wonder Bread, The Italiano, Country Harvest, and Ace Bakery.
The company operates a wide range of bakery brands and products such as Wonder Bread, one of the most recognizable brands in the bakery industry. Wonder Bread is known for its soft, fluffy texture and classic white bread flavor. Country Harvest, a brand of wholesome and natural breads made with wholesome ingredients and no artificial preservatives. The Italiano, a brand of authentic Italian-style breads, including sliced and sliced-to-toast breads, rolls, and buns. Ace Bakery, a premium brand of artisanal breads made with natural ingredients and traditional baking methods. Ready Bake, a brand of ready-to-bake frozen dough products, including pizza crust, cinnamon rolls, and other sweet baked goods. Advantages of Weston Food being a family-owned company. Long-term perspective. Family ownership can provide a long-term perspective on business decisions and allowing the company to focus on stability and growth over short-term profits. A strong company culture. Family ownership can foster a strong sense of company culture, values, and heritage that can be carried on from generation to generation. Flexibility in decision making. As a family owned business, Weston Foods may have more flexibility in decision making compared to the publicly traded company, which may be subject to a greater scrutiny from shareholders and the market. Personal commitment. Family ownership can bring a personal commitment to the business and its success as the family's wealth and reputation are often tied to the company's performance. The disadvantages of Weston being a family-owned company: lack of outside expertise. The absence of outside shareholders and directors can limit the company access to fresh ideas and outside expertise. Limited access to capital. As a privately held company, Weston Foods may have limited access to capital compared to a publicly traded company, which can hinder its ability to invest in new opportunities and pursue growth. Succession challenges. Family-owned companies can face challenges in succession planning, particularly when multiple family members are involved in the business and there is a disagreement over the direction of the company. Conflicts of interest. Family ownership can create conflicts of interest, particularly when family members hold different positions in the company or have different opinions on business strategies.
Moving on, let us now relate the paper study with the Western food. As Study 1 talks about appointing a family member as the company CEO to build common interests and identities for obtaining common goal, trust, and social interaction, the pyramid structure diversifies businesses by connecting to other industries where the family firm and business group are likely to gain more legitimacy, authority, and state fund than other firms. Having said that, in Western food, the presence of Mr. Gallen, the chairman and CEO of the company, is seen to be positively related to the firm's performance. As seen in the slide, all the financial information represents the company's result for continuing operation. Over the year from 2021 to 2022, there have been drastic increase in their revenue, operating income, and a common shareholders. As we can see in revenue, there have been an increase of 8.2%, whereas in their income, there have been a drastic increase of 31%. Also, there have been an increase of 24.1% in their common shares. The company has successfully executed strategic transaction as has tightly managed its leverage and capital structure. The company is a leader in each of its operating segments, retail and real estate, with market leading brands in retail and co-retail location in real estate. Furthermore, having a pyramid structure, the company's performance is strongly distributed amongst different firms by the control of one family person at the top and other competent non-family members in other firms, keeping a balance integral company value and effective functioning at all levels.
The study too shows that the impact of having a family CEO and pyramid structure on firm performance varied based on the legal and regulatory institutions in a country. The results suggest that in countries with less developed institutions, having a family CEO is beneficial, but having a pyramid structure is negatively related to firm performance. On the other hand, in countries with more developed institutions, having a pyramid structure is positively related to firm performance. The results of the study support the view that the relationship between family ownership and control in large firms and their performance is systematically correlated with the legal and regulatory institutions governing shareholder protection in a country. Weston Foods is a good example of this because Canada is a country with strong institutions and the legal framework is there to facilitate giving the company to a third party. In conclusion, family ownership and control in large firms plays a significant role in their performance in different countries. Our presentation has explored the findings of two studies conducted by Ji Jiang and Mike W. Peng in 8 Asian countries and a Canadian family-owned company, Weston Foods. The first study showed that the presence of a family CEO has a positive impact in firm performance in Indonesia and Taiwan, while it has a negative impact in Hong Kong. Additionally, the pyramid structure of a family business has a positive effect in Hong Kong, Malaysia, and Singapore, and a negative effect in Indonesia and South Korea. The second study delved into the institutional roots of family ownership and control, showing that the benefits of having a family CEO depend on the strength of shareholder protection in each country. In conclusion, family ownership and control can be good, bad, or irrelevant depending on the specific circumstances and conditions. Thank you for listening.